Well, he says here one of the statements below contains a word used incorrectly. Choose the option which has the incorrect or inappropriate usage of the word. Okay. The first, what you call a cluster of sentences, you have the word critic. Okay. And if you look at these sentences, the emperor ordered the arrest of his most vocal critic. Now, here, critic means a person who gives an unfavorable assessment or opinion of something, right? So that is a critic. Critic also means, you see, one who gives an assessment of any literary work or music or any painting, any arts. And in that, he is supposed to be a balanced person in his views, you see, used in that sense. But when you have the use of the word critic in the as in the first sentence, that clearly shows that the critic is a person who expresses, you see, an unfavorable opinion or view about something. There are very few film critics left in our city. Now, see, I gave you the second meaning, the film critics, right? Film critics, that is, critics who assess films, right? Mahatma Gandhi's critique of the West remains relevant to this day. Mahatma Gandhi's critique, that is, a critique is an analysis, a detailed analysis, right? Both the pros and cons, that is a critique. His classmates warned him it's not a good idea to critique our principle. Now, that is incorrectly used. It should be either, you see, don't criticize our principle, right? You can't use it this way. Critique our principle. So it should be, it's not a good idea to criticize our principle, that is to speak unfavorably about him. So number 4, the word critique is incorrectly used. Look at the next sentence. The river teemed with salmon and trout. Now, in this sentence, the word teem has a meaning which means it is full of or swarming with or full of, right? That is the meaning. The wedding was teamed in Bhojpuri style. That doesn't mean anything, right? It is incorrectly used. The word teamed is used incorrectly. You say the wedding was arranged in Bhojpuri style or it was organized in Bhojpuri style. You can't use team that way. Which team will win this year's IPL tournament? That is, which team? That is, which group of players? The film star wore a purple suit teamed with crimsonite. Now here, teamed with crimsonite, what does it mean? It means match with, right? Match with, to match or coordinate with. You see a suit teamed with what you call with a yellow shirt. It means to match, to coordinate, to complement, to pair up, right? So the answer is number 2, where the word teamed is used incorrectly. The next sentence, look at it. Last week we learned about the right way to greet our customers. The right way, the correct way. Get it right the first time is an often heard management slogan. Now that doesn't mean anything. It should be get it right, R-I-G-H-T, right. You can't use W-R-I-T-E, right. He simply says get it correct, get it accurate for the first time. You say, well, I got it right. You say R-I-G-H-T. So right is incorrectly used. In India, driving on the right side of the road is wrong. That is, the right side in India is wrong. You know what that means. The rite of afternoon tea is described in many of Enid Blyton's books. The rite, the ritual. You see, R-I-T-E, rite, is supposed to be a ritual, a ceremony. You see, the rites, right? So that is correctly used. So the incorrect answer, the incorrect usage of the word is the number 2. Take the next the next sentence. The attackers decided to raise the castle to the ground. Can you use raise in that sense? How can you raise the castle? Raise means to lift up, isn't it? So how can you use the raise the castle to the ground? The correct word that should be used here is R-A-Z-E. R-A-Z-E, that is raise. And raise means to completely destroy. To completely destroy. That is, you say the government raised the unauthorized buildings to the ground, right? Completely destroy. So number 1 is incorrect. The word raise is incorrectly used. In the other sentences, they raised their children to be free-thinking boys and girls. Here, raised means to bring up, to nurture, to take care of, to look after, right? They raise their children. To raise a toast to the newly wedded couple is a common practice. To raise a toast is an idiom. It means wishing someone good and happiness, good wishes and happiness. That is to raise a toast. And the last one, the rays of the sun rose above the mountain. You know what that means? The rays of the sun. So now 2, 3, and 4 are correct. Number 1 is incorrect. Look at the next sentence. Shakespeare is sometimes referred to as a bard. A bard is a poet. B-A-R-D, bard. Quite archaic, Old English, bard. But even now we use the word sometimes. He barred his soul to the preacher. How can he bar his soul? What he wants to say here is he bared his soul to the preacher. Bare, B-A-R-E-D. Bared means he exposed his soul. He showed his soul. He confessed to the preacher, right? So it should be B-A-R-E-D. So number 2 has the incorrect usage of the word bar. Because of his age, he was barred from entering the theatre. That is, he was banned. He was prohibited. He wasn't allowed. The bar barred all bards. Now, barred means banned all bards. That is, bards, poets weren't allowed to go to the bar. So, 1, 3, and 4 are correctly used. The incorrect usage is in number 2. The president of the city chamber of commerce is an urbane, kindly, and generous man. Urbane, it refers to what you call being polite, being well-mannered, possibly, right? Being polite, being soft, being refined, courteous. And the next sentence, you have the writer's next book deals with the life of an urbane intellectual. That is a polite, so that's correctly used. My uncle who lives in New York turned out to be the exact opposite of the urbane, wealthy gentleman that I was expecting to meet. So urbane is polite, refined in manners. Okay. Over 70% of the people living in urbane areas. Now you don't have the word urbane areas. That should be urban areas. U-R-B-A-N, urban. There's a difference between urbane and urban. Urbane refers to politeness, sobriety, S-U-A-V-I-T-Y, sobriety, refinement in manners, and urban is the opposite of rural, like a city. That is the meaning of the word urban. The next sentence, the young scientist built a small, low-cost machine to recycle wastewater. It was a simple but ingenious solution to the problem of water shortage in the city. Well, look at this sentence. Ingenious means what you call cleverly devised, skillfully devised, right? So it was an ingenious solution, a clever solution. Okay. My friend is an ingenious cook, a clever cook, a skilled cook. Okay. The young man lost all his savings because he was rather ingenious to believe the agent's promises of a well-paid job and a comfortable life in a foreign country. No, was he ingenious to believe? What does it mean? Ingenious to believe? That is clever to believe? Then if he was clever enough, then how did he lose everything? So ingeniously is incorrectly used here. Ingenious is incorrectly used here. The word should have been ingenuous. Ingenuous means innocent and unsuspecting. I-N-G-E-N-U-O-U-S. That is innocent and unsuspecting. Naive, N-A-I-V-E, naive, simple, trusting, childlike, trustful. So the word should have been ingenuous. So the answer, of course, is number 3 because the word ingenious is incorrectly used there. The answer is number 3. Look at the next sentence. After several rounds of meetings, the city council passed an ordinance to limit the number of cafes near the seaside. Passed an ordinance, that is, they passed an authoritative decree, an order, a law, or a rule to be followed. That is an ordinance. The government brings out an ordinance, that is, it is to be followed. It is a law. It is a decree. It is an authoritative decree. You see, an ordinance can remain in effect for only 6 months. After then, it has to be passed and approved by the Legislative Assembly, and from there to the Honorable Governor. Then it becomes an act. Okay, but anyway, for our purposes, it's just enough to know that an ordinance is an order by the government. Okay, that's correctly used. As per a royal ordinance, That's correctly used. That a royal ordinance is an ordinance that is brought out by the king. All men under 18 had to join the army and fight the war. Military aircrafts can be used to carry a wide variety of ordnance. Now here ordnance is incorrectly used. The word is not ordnance, it should be ORDNANCE. You don't require an I here. You don't require an I. Ordnance means munition, mounted guns, artillery. That is ordnance. So here ordnance is incorrectly used, and maybe there is a misprint, but military aircraft, because aircraft is both singular and plural. You don't have any word like aircrafts. There may be a printing mistake, right? Aircraft, that's all. Military aircraft can be used to carry a wide variety of ordnance. The people protested a city ordinance, that's correctly used. A city order that was brought out, that's correctly used. Take the next sentence. It's a pleasure when we are all together for a meal at home. Now, all together means all in one place. When you spell all together as two words, it means all in one place. Everyone in one place. Her son is not interested in watching movies, which is not altogether a bad thing. Now, that is incorrectly used. Now, what does it mean, which is not altogether all in one place? No, the word should have been ALTOGETHER. That's a single word altogether. AL, you spell it with AL, not ALL. Single word altogether. And what does it mean? That means on the whole, in entirety, on the whole, completely, totally, taking everything into consideration as a whole. You say all together, it's a very good plan. You don't use both the words. That would mean all together would mean everyone in one place. All in one place, everybody at one place. And we don't want that meaning here. We want a different meaning here. All in one place or in a group. So all at once. You say they arrived all together. That is all in group and at once they arrived. So here we require the word with which is spelled with AL. Okay, AL. So the mistake lies in number 2. The 300 guests sat all together, that is in a group. The facilitator asked the participants to stand up all together, that is in a group. So the answer is number 2. The sickness of a family member can affect the lives of everyone at home. In the first sentence, affect is used in the sense of to have an impact, to have an effect, to influence, okay, to touch the feelings of someone. You say, well, bright lights can affect my vision, okay? Or you say, excessive consumption of alcohol can affect the liver, to have an impact upon. Kerala was affected by severe flood all through the year. That is, it was impacted. There was an effect. There was an effect, you see, of the flood all through the year. That is what he means to say, right? That is what he wants to say here, to have an effect on something. Kerala was affected by heavy rains. We say Jaipur was affected by heavy rains. Taking this medicine for a prolonged period can have severe after effects. Now, effect can never be used as a noun. It is always used as a verb. Okay, so the word should have been effect. EFFECTS, effects, that is impact. So can have severe after effects, not effects. That's incorrect. So the answer is number 3, where the word effect should have been used instead of affects. And remember, affect can never be used as a noun. It is always used as a verb. The last one, the popular star was not a natural actor. His style was rather affected. An affected style means an assumed style, a style which is pretentious. You have 4 sentences. You see, naturally the fauna of the region varies with climatic changes. That's correct. Some plants adapt themselves to a variety of climatic conditions. That's correct. When the last tree dies in the climactic sea, now it's not climatic, it's climactic. The climactic means referring to the climax, right? So that's also correct. The climactic change from summer to winter, it's not climatic changes from summer to winter. It is a climatic changes. It's not talking about the climate, CLIMATE. So the answer is D. D is incorrect. Take the next sentence. The lives of the little princess in the large castle in the rich city were luxurious. Luxurious definitely means elegant, comfortable, right? Involving great expense. That is luxurious. And then you say the rooms were adorned with luxuriant trimmings of gold, silk, and velvet. That is incorrect. Luxuriant generally refers to something which is prolific, which is lush, which is growing well, rich, abundant, super abundant, profuse, right? That is luxuriant. So you can't use the word luxuriant here. You should say you can use the word what you call luxurious, right? You can say that it was the rooms were adorned with luxurious trimmings of gold, silk, and velvet. You shouldn't say luxuriant. C and D are correct. Number B is incorrect. You should say luxurious, not luxuriant. Take the next sentence. The king was under intensive pressure. That is wrong. You see, intensive has a different meaning. Okay, you make an intensive study, a deep study. But when you're talking about a burden or a pressure, it is intense. So number 1 is incorrect. Right? The other B, C, and D are correct. The word, the intense debate between the states with intensive study, the subject's loathing of the cruel emperor was intense, that is deep. But number 1 is incorrect. It should be intense. Take the next sentence. There is the use of the word appraise. You see, appraise is incorrectly used in number D. In the rest, A, B, C, appraise is correctly used. In number 1, it means we called a mechanic to appraise, that is to evaluate the car. Okay. Number 2, it is apprise. Apprise means to acquaint with, to inform. Number 3, the three are expected to appraise their own performance, that is appreciate their own performance, make judicious appreciation. Number 4, it should be apprise. You apprise the commanding officer. You don't appraise the commanding officer. So number D is incorrect. Take the next sentence. He says, the young girl said, I now request our chief guest to come forward for the lighting of the lamp. Okay, that's correct. Number 2 is also correct. They were struck by lightning. Correct. Number 3 is incorrect. It should be skin lightening products. LIGHTEN ING, skin lightening, to lighten the skin. Okay, not skin lightening. So number 3 is incorrect. Number 4 is correctly used.